The 3 brands that actually work and the ones wasting your money. If you watched part 1 of this turmeric series and walked into a store this week to buy a bottle, you probably had the same experience most viewers reported back to me. Overwhelm. There are over 300 turmeric supplement products on the American market. They range from $8 to $80 per bottle. They make wildly different claims. And the difference between the bottle that does what the studies showed and the bottle that does almost nothing isn't price, isn't brand prestige, and isn't whether it says premium on the label. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to give you the 3 specific brand categories that consistently pass independent third-party testing, deliver the bioavailability the clinical studies actually required, and produce the effects the research documented. I'm also going to teach you how to identify, in 30 seconds standing in any pharmacy aisle, which products are wasting your money, without me having to name specific brands that change formulations every 6 months anyway. By the end of this video, you'll be able to walk into any store, look at any turmeric bottle, and know within 30 seconds whether it's worth your money. You'll save somewhere between $150 and $400 per year. And more importantly, you'll actually get the anti-inflammatory effects the research promised, instead of the placebo equivalent that most commercial turmeric delivers. Stay with me, because the verification framework I'm about to give you is something the supplement industry would prefer you didn't have. Before we get to the brand categories and the verification framework, I want to set up why this matters so much for turmeric specifically. In part 1 of this series, I walked through the 14 human studies on turmeric for arthritis in seniors. The effective trials used doses of 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of curcumin daily, typically in bioavailability-enhanced formulations. The studies that showed turmeric working roughly as well as ibuprofen for knee osteoarthritis all used specific, standardized, well-absorbed forms of the active compound. The problem in the consumer marketplace is that the word turmeric on a bottle tells you almost nothing about whether the product inside resembles what those studies tested. Turmeric, the spice, contains roughly 2 to 5% curcumin by weight. Ground turmeric in a capsule without standardization might contain anywhere from 1% to 8% curcumin depending on the source route, the processing method, the age of the product, and how it's been stored. 2 products both labeled 500 milligrams turmeric can deliver wildly different amounts of the active compound. And then there's the bioavailability problem, which I covered in detail in part 1 but want to summarize because it's central to this video. Pure curcumin, taken orally without enhancement, is absorbed at approximately 1%. 1%. A 500 milligram capsule of plain curcumin delivers about 5 milligrams to your bloodstream. The other 495 milligrams passes through you without reaching the tissues where it would do work. This is why the clinical trials use bioavailability enhanced forms, piperine-paired curcumin, phytosomal formulations like Mariva, nanoparticle formulations like Curcumin, and similar engineered products. These can produce blood curcumin levels 20 to 30 times higher than equivalent doses of plain curcumin, so the commercial gap is enormous. A senior buying a $9 bottle of turmeric at the drugstore and a senior buying a $35 bottle of properly formulated standardized curcumin are not taking the same supplement, are not getting the same effect, and are not investing the same amount in their health. They're often within 20 feet of each other in the same store. They look at nearly identical bottles. They make their decision based on price. The wellness industry profits enormously from this confusion. The drugstore turmeric bottle has higher margin precisely because it costs almost nothing to manufacture and delivers almost no measurable effect. The premium standardized formulations are more expensive because they actually work, and the marketing pressure to make the cheaper products look equivalent is constant. Your job, by the end of this video, is to never be fooled by that pressure again. Let me start with the verification framework, the 30-second check you can run on any turmeric bottle in any store. There are 5 criteria. A product needs to pass at least 4 of them to be worth your money. Criterion 1. The label must specify the curcumin content, not just the turmeric content. Look for language like standardized to 95% curcuminoids or contains 500 milligrams curcumin per capsule. If the label only says 500 milligrams turmeric root or 1,000 milligrams turmeric powder with no curcumin standardization, the product is unstandardized. You don't know what you're getting. Skip it. Criterion 2. The product must include a bioavailability enhancer. Look for one of 4 specific named ingredients on the supplement facts panel. Black pepper extract or piperine, often labeled as bioperine, the most common and most affordable enhancer. Mariva or phytosomal curcumin, a curcumin phospholipid complex with strong human bioavailability data. Curcumin, a nanoparticle formulation with high absorption, or Longvita, a specific lipid-based formulation with documented absorption studies. If a bottle says turmeric or curcumin without one of these 4 bioavailability enhancers, the product is delivering pure curcumin at roughly 1% absorption. The same dose in a piperine-enhanced product would deliver 20 times more curcumin to your tissues. The cost difference between unenhanced and enhanced products is usually only $5 to $15. Skip the unenhanced. Criterion 3. The bottle must carry independent third-party testing certification. The 3 certifications that matter are USP verified, NSF certified, and Consumer Lab Top Pick. These mean an independent laboratory has verified that the product contains what the label claims in the amounts claimed without contamination by heavy metals, pesticides, or undeclared ingredients. This certification is critical for turmeric specifically because the supplement category has documented contamination problems. A 2020 Consumer Lab investigation found that approximately 25% of tested turmeric products contained lead levels exceeding California's Proposition 65 limits. Some of these were major brands sold in mainstream pharmacies. Lead exposure in seniors is genuinely harmful. It contributes to cognitive decline, kidney damage, and cardiovascular disease. And chronic supplement use without third-party testing is one of the most common preventable sources. If a bottle doesn't carry one of the 3 certification marks, you have no independent verification of either content accuracy or contamination safety. Skip it. Criterion 4. The manufacturer must disclose the country of origin of the turmeric root. Turmeric grown in some regions has higher heavy metal contamination than turmeric grown in others, with Indian-sourced product traditionally requiring more careful testing because some agricultural regions have higher soil lead levels. The reputable manufacturers disclose their sourcing, typically India, Indonesia, or Vietnam, and combine sourcing transparency with the third-party testing in Criterion 3. Hidden sourcing is a red flag. If the manufacturer's website doesn't tell you where the raw material comes from, the manufacturer either doesn't know or doesn't want you to know. Either way, that's a manufacturer you shouldn't trust for chronic daily supplementation. Criterion 5. The product must have a manufacture date and an expiration date, not just an expiration date alone. Curcumin degrades over time, especially when exposed to light and heat. A bottle that's been sitting on a warm pharmacy shelf for 18 months may contain significantly less active curcumin than the label claims, even if it's still within the formal expiration date. Manufacture dates let you choose the freshest stock available. This is the criterion most viewers initially dismiss as overly cautious. It isn't. In consumer lab testing, products near their expiration date have been found to contain 40 to 60% less curcumin than their label claimed. Fresh stock matters. 5 criteria: standardization disclosure, bioavailability enhancer, third-party certification, sourcing transparency, manufacture date. A product passing all 5 is worth your money. A product passing 4 can be considered. A product passing 3 or fewer is wasting your investment regardless of how the marketing presents it. Let me pause for 30 seconds before we get into the 3 brand categories, because what I'm about to tell you is the part the supplement industry would prefer you skip. If you've been watching this channel for the evidence-based approach to senior health, the subscribe button below is how the next videos reach you. Coming up, I have detailed reviews of omega-3 fish oil brands, vitamin D supplementation, and a full breakdown of which probiotics actually have evidence in adults over 60. Same approach. The verification frameworks transfer across supplement categories. There's a free PDF in the description with this verification checklist, printable in a wallet card format. Print it, take it shopping. It saves time and money every single time you stand in front of a supplement shelf. Now, let's talk about which brand categories consistently pass the 5 criteria. The 3 brand categories worth your money break down by formulation type rather than by company. Within each category, there are multiple manufacturers that meet the criteria, and the specific best buy changes year to year. The category framework is durable. Specific product recommendations age out within months because formulations change, pricing shifts, and new products enter the market. Learn the categories and you'll buy correctly for the next 20 years. Category 1. Piperine Enhanced Standardized Curcumin from third-party tested professional supplement brands. This is the category most viewers should default to. Products in this category typically contain 500 to 1,000 milligrams of curcumin, standardized to 95% curcuminoids, combined with 5 to 10 milligrams of bioperine black pepper extract. The cost is usually $20 to $35 per month at therapeutic doses. The brand families that consistently produce products meeting all 5 verification criteria in this category include Doctor's Best, Pure Encapsulations, Thorne, Life Extension, Jarrow Formulas, and Now Foods. These are not the cheapest options. They are not sold primarily in big box stores. They are sold in supplement specialty stores, health food stores, and direct-to-consumer online channels. They have built decades-long reputations on independent testing transparency. When you walk into a store and see these brand families, you can purchase with confidence. Verify the specific bottle still passes the 5 criteria. Sometimes companies launch lower quality product lines that don't carry the testing certifications, but the brand family is the reliable starting point. Category 2. Meriva Phytosomal Curcumin from licensed manufacturers. Meriva is a specific patented formulation developed by Indena, an Italian botanical extract company. It's a curcumin phospholipid complex that increases bioavailability roughly 29-fold compared to plain curcumin, based on published research in the journal Alternative Medicine Review. Meriva is licensed to multiple supplement manufacturers, which means you'll see it in products from different brand names. The shared characteristic is the word Meriva on the label, often in language like contains Meriva phytosomal curcumin complex. A typical Meriva product delivers 500 milligrams of the complex, which corresponds to roughly 100 milligrams of standardized curcumin in a form that absorbs dramatically better than equivalent plain curcumin doses. Brand families that produce reputable Meriva products include Thorne, under the name Meriva SR, Pure Encapsulations, as Curcumasorb Mind, Nature's Way, and Natural Factors. Expect to pay $30 to $50 per month. The higher cost is justified by the bioavailability. You can use lower doses to achieve the same blood curcumin levels as 4 to 5 times higher doses of plain curcumin. Meriva is particularly worth considering for seniors who need higher therapeutic curcumin exposure but want to minimize total pill burden, or for those whose digestive systems don't tolerate piperine well. Some seniors experience mild reflux with piperine-enhanced products, and Meriva avoids this entirely. Category 3. Curcumin Nanoparticle Curcumin. This is the premium tier, the most expensive and the highest bioavailability formulation on the market. Curcumin uses particle size reduction technology to break curcumin into nanoparticles approximately 100 times smaller than conventional curcumin. The result is bioavailability roughly 27 times higher than plain curcumin, documented in a 2014 study in Scientific Reports. Curcumin is the form used in the 2018 cognitive study at UCLA that showed measurable improvements in memory and attention in adults aged 50 to 90, a study that's frequently cited in marketing but rarely produced by products other than Curcumin itself, because the bioavailability of other forms wouldn't have produced the same blood levels. Brand families licensed to use Curcumin include Integrative Therapeutics, Natural Factors, Curcumin-Rich Curcumin, and Source Naturals. Expect to pay $40 to $60 per month. This is the formulation to choose if you have cognitive concerns specifically, if cost isn't the primary constraint, or if you've tried Meriva and want to test whether higher bioavailability produces better results for you specifically. 3 categories: piperine enhanced standardized curcumin from professional brands as the default choice for most users. Mirava phytosomal curcumin for higher bioavailability without piperine. Curcumin nanoparticle curcumin as the premium tier with the strongest cognitive evidence. Within each category, multiple specific products meet the criteria. The product specifics will change. The categories will not. Now, let me tell you, just as importantly, which categories of products waste your money. Category 1 of waste: plain, unstandardized turmeric root powder capsules. These are typically sold at the lowest prices in mainstream pharmacies, with labels emphasizing the milligrams of turmeric rather than the milligrams of curcumin. Without standardization, the curcumin content is unpredictable. Without bioavailability enhancement, the small amount of curcumin present absorbs at roughly 1%. You're paying for capsules of fiber with trace curcumin content, the marketing language to watch for. Pure turmeric, whole root turmeric, organic turmeric powder, traditional turmeric. None of these phrases tell you anything about curcumin content or absorption. They tell you the product is unstandardized and unenhanced. Skip them. Category 2 of waste: turmeric gummies. These are heavily marketed because they're easier to consume than capsules. The problem is dose. A typical turmeric gummy contains 100 to 200 milligrams of turmeric extract, often without curcumin standardization, almost never with adequate bioavailability enhancement. To approximate the studied therapeutic dose, you would need to consume 10 to 20 gummies daily, with substantial sugar load that's particularly counterproductive for senior metabolic health. The gummy form delivers a marketing effective dose, not a clinically effective dose. The pleasure of taking a gummy is real. The therapeutic effect is essentially absent. If you can't swallow capsules, the better solution is a high-quality liquid curcumin extract, not a gummy product. Category 3 of waste: turmeric tea. The water-soluble compounds extract reasonably into hot water, but the more bioavailable lipid-soluble curcuminoids extract poorly without fat. Even strong daily turmeric tea consumption delivers a fraction of the therapeutic dose. Tea is fine as part of an anti-inflammatory dietary pattern. It is not a substitute for proper supplementation when therapeutic effects are the goal. Category 4 of waste: multi-ingredient blends where turmeric is one of many components. Products marketed as joint health complex or inflammation support formula often contain 50 to 200 milligrams of turmeric alongside a dozen other ingredients, none in clinically effective doses. The label looks impressive. Many ingredients suggest thoroughness, but the underdosing of each ingredient means none of them produces measurable effect. Single ingredient products at clinically effective doses outperform multi-ingredient blends at sub-therapeutic doses every time. Category 5 of waste: house brand or generic turmeric from big box stores that lack third-party testing certifications. These products may be safe and may contain what the label claims, but you have no independent verification. For chronic daily supplementation in seniors, where contamination risk accumulates over years, the absence of testing is itself a reason to skip the product. The cost savings versus tested professional brands is usually under $10 per month. The downside risk is contamination exposure over years. I want to address one specific situation that comes up in viewer questions repeatedly: the cost question. Several viewers have written that the recommended brand categories cost 3 to 4 times what they currently spend on turmeric. They're on fixed incomes. They're choosing between properly formulated supplements and other necessities. They want to know whether the cheaper option is at least somewhat useful, even if not optimal. Here is the honest answer. For turmeric specifically, the cheap option is genuinely not somewhat useful. The bioavailability problem means cheap plain turmeric delivers so little curcumin to your tissues that the effect is functionally placebo. You are paying for the feeling of taking a supplement without receiving the biological effect a supplement is supposed to provide. If you can afford properly formulated turmeric at $20 to $35 per month, take it. If you cannot, you have a better option than cheap turmeric, which is to put that supplement money toward dietary anti-inflammatory interventions instead. A Mediterranean-style grocery shift adds anti-inflammatory effect at lower cost than even cheap supplements, and the effect is documented in stronger evidence than turmeric supplementation produces. Olive oil, fatty fish twice weekly, leafy greens daily, berries regularly, nuts daily, beans and lentils as protein sources. This dietary pattern produces measurable reductions in inflammatory markers and joint pain comparable to or exceeding what turmeric supplementation produces in the clinical trials. It costs roughly the same as the cheap turmeric you'd otherwise buy. It uses the money far better. The cheap turmeric option is not a budget version of the expensive turmeric option. It is a different category of purchase, one that feels like supplementation but doesn't function as supplementation. Better to skip it entirely and invest the same money in food. Let me close with the practical action plan for translating this video into the bottle on your kitchen counter. First, check what you have. Pull out your current turmeric bottle. Run it through the 5 criteria. Standardization disclosure, bioavailability enhancer, third-party certification, sourcing transparency, manufacture date. Count how many it passes. Second, if your current product fails 3 or more criteria, stop taking it. You are paying for placebo. The capsules at the back of your cupboard are not delivering the studied effects regardless of how long you've been taking them. Third, choose your category. Default to piperine enhanced standardized curcumin from a professional supplement brand for most users. Choose Meriva if you have piperine sensitivity or want higher bioavailability. Choose Curcumin if cognitive concerns are part of why you're taking turmeric, or if cost isn't the primary constraint. Fourth, dose appropriately. From part 1 of this series, for piperine-enhanced curcumin, start at 500 milligrams of curcumin twice daily for the first 2 weeks, increasing to 750 milligrams twice daily for the next 8 weeks. For Meriva, start at 500 milligrams of the complex twice daily. For Curcumin, follow the specific product label, typically 90 to 180 milligrams twice daily. Fifth, give it 8 weeks before judging. Take it with meals containing some fat for improved absorption. Same time each day. Track your symptoms in a simple log so you can compare week 1 to week 8 in actual data rather than memory. Sixth, screen for medication interactions if you take blood thinners, diabetes medications, or 3 or more prescription medications. Pharmacist consultation, 5 minutes, free. Take the full list. Curcumin at therapeutic doses interacts with several common medications, and the higher bioavailability forms produce stronger interactions than plain turmeric would. Seventh, monitor cost over time. The supplement marketplace shifts. Prices change. New formulations launch. Brands you trust today may be acquired by less rigorous companies in 3 years. Re-verify your chosen product against the 5 criteria once every 6 months. Loyalty to specific brands beyond what their current testing supports is one of the most common ways seniors end up with degraded supplements. The bottom line on the question we started with. The 3 brand categories that work: piperine-enhanced standardized curcumin from professional brands, Meriva phytosomal curcumin, and Curcumin nanoparticle curcumin. The brands that waste your money: anything failing the 5 criterion verification framework with plain unstandardized turmeric, turmeric gummies, multi-ingredient blends, and untested house brands as the most common offenders. I've put the 5 criterion verification checklist in a printable wallet card in the description, along with the citation PDF covering the bioavailability studies, the contamination data, and the formulation comparisons referenced throughout this video. Print the checklist. Take it shopping. Hand it to relatives who ask which turmeric to buy. Next week, I'm covering omega-3 fish oil supplementation in seniors, which has even more brand quality variation than turmeric, with documented oxidation problems in major products and a verification framework that's slightly different from what we use today. If you take fish oil regularly, that video will be worth your time. If this was useful, the kindest thing you can do is share it with one person over 60 who's currently spending money on turmeric without knowing whether the product on their counter passes the verification criteria. Most of them are paying for placebo. Most of them don't know. That single share might be the difference between someone wasting another year of supplement money or finally getting the effects the research actually documented.